Well, good day, viewers. Today we have a 2002 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD. It's here because of a bunch of issues. Recently, his instrumentation has been acting up. Got a low fuel message on. Gas gauge reads empty. Temperature reading, it could be accurate. It is just started cold. Battery indicator, charge indicator light on. Yeah, it shows that it's charging over there. ABS light on. Airbag warning light on. And notice the gear shift indicator is dead. There's no indication of what gear it's in. I'm not sure if the speedo is working, but the tach is definitely working. The oil pressure gauge seems to be working. Now, he said with his tuner here, he scanned it and he had a U1000 code, but that's strictly an OBD2 code for loss of communication. So I suspect there's a network problem going on. See a security message on the dash as well. So we're going to do a network scan of all the controllers to see what it has to offer. He also mentioned this morning that he had transmission shifting problem and he had a P0700 code with this tuner. And a P0700 code is a generic code in the ECM where the transmission controller has requested the ECM to illuminate the MIL. Speaking of MIL, why isn't it on? There is no MIL. Isn't that interesting? Where would it be? Typically up in this corner here. I wonder if the bulb was burnt out. That's an LED, I think. Well, let's get a scanner on this thing and do a network scan. So I'm going to scan this thing. I've loaded the vehicle record. I've worked on it before for other things, not recently though. This will not auto ID because it's 2002. And it will also not do a network scan with the snap-on scan tool. So I'm going to scan each module separately. It's got an Allison, federal emissions, engine, codes, display codes, all powertrain codes. So he must have cleared the codes. Let's see if there's any history. I think he said he cleared the codes this morning. Let's check the transmission. Display code. No, that's not going to help us. Oh. Check history codes. Oh, I guess I can. Okay. Let's go into the ABS and see what we've got. Current codes. No codes. History code. No code. This is not looking too promising. Let's go into the airbag computer. The airbag light is on. Display codes. Current. Lost communication with instrument panel plus the driver module. Alright. I guess I could look at history codes too. See if there's any additional codes. Class 2 serial communication problem. Let's see if we got communication with the instrument cluster right now. No communication. Let's see if we can get any data out of it. No communication. So, we got a dead instrument cluster or we got a network problem. Let's try the body control module. No codes in the BCM. No current codes at least. Oh, security system sensor data high, security system data wrong but valid, key and ignition circuit fault, that's probably due to a car starter, passenger unlock switch circuit low, bunch of history codes. What else we got? Transfer case, display codes, current, history. Well, I'm going to have a look at fuses that feed power to the instrument cluster because we got no communication with it. And I'm going to also look at the network configuration on this thing, see how it's wired. So looking at my vehicle records, and this is one of the reasons I like this Snap-on Veris Edge, it keeps a record of everything that you've done. Back in July 2nd of 2020, it was in with the instrument cluster not working, and it had a loss of communication with the instrument cluster, and I cycled the plug at the cluster and it's working again. And it's been fine, I understand, up until a few days ago, a couple days ago, when he texted me and said that it was acting up again. But that was 3 years ago. Is it the same problem? Is it a problem with the instrument cluster? Now looking at the wiring diagram for the network here, serial data, it's a one wire system, goes from pin 2 of the DLC to the HVAC module. Now I think this has got mechanical heating and ventilation system, so it doesn't have the electronic. Goes to the EBCM. We got communication with that. We got communication with the transfer case control module. We got communication with the body control module. We got communication with the ECM. The rear wheel steering module it doesn't have. Memory seat module it doesn't have. We had communication with the ECM, or sorry, transmission control module, but no communication with the instrument cluster. And their driver information center is the instrument cluster, circa 1127. We do have communication with the, oh wait a minute, there's instrument panel. I wonder what that driver information center is. Is that's the part of the instrument cluster? That little rectangular or square display that has multiple messages. But we don't have communication with the instrument cluster on this 1036. I'm going to have to look at the OE diagram here. So here is the OE version of this data communication network. Then unfortunately in these vintages they didn't have one diagram that showed everything. I'm just going to print this diagram. So it shows the splice pack 205 under the dash, and it doesn't show the driver information center. I think that's an optional overhead console that this doesn't have. But we do have communication with the EBCM. We don't have communication with the instrument panel. I don't think the fuses are a problem because the instrument panel is turning on. I am going to check the fuses though. And considering we got communication with all the other modules, it doesn't have memory seat, doesn't have rear steering, doesn't have the HVAC controls. And it doesn't have OnStar, I don't believe. Transfer case module is talking, and stable restraint module is talking. I wish they knew what RPO code this DIC was, but back in the old days they didn't use RPO codes on the schematics, they used short forms. But nevertheless, we got communication with the transmission control module, but a loss of communication with the instrument panel. So that's why the gauges are malfunctioning and all the warning lights are on. I'm going to check fuses that feed power to the instrument panel. So here's the Mitchell version of the instrument cluster. There are 3 fuses: the cruise fuse 10 amp, ignition 0 fuse 10 amp, and ignition 1 fuse 10 amp. They feed power to pin A4, A6, and A10. No, sorry, A4, A10, and B7, and ground is on pin A6. So there's 3 power wires and 1 ground wire, and the network wire is pin A5. So I'm going to check these fuses to begin with. Let's print this diagram. So cruise fuse, ignition 0 fuse, and ignition 1 fuse. Now there's been obviously some modifications done here. That fuse cheater has is on the cruise fuse, but it's good. But I'm going to watch the instrument cluster gauge indicator and wiggle that fuse to see if the Prundle lights up. No, it doesn't. I'm going to try tapping on the dash. Well, I guess we're pulling the cluster out of this thing. Now I see the service engine light is on, but the gear shift indicator is not working. Because it's in, I had to put it down, shift the shifter down into low to get the bezel off the dash here. And the gear shift indicator is one of the, I don't recall seeing that service engine soon message. Maybe I was looking for a check engine light, the conventional light. Maybe it was there. I'll have to watch my own video. Well, I'm going to start taking the cluster out while I have the key on to see if movement of the wires back there brings up the indicator on the dash. So I disconnected the cluster and reconnected it, and I noticed that the gear shift indicator light came on and the gear shifter was in first gear, as you can see. But now when I shift it, second it disappears, third it's back, drive it disappears, neutral it disappears, reverse it's there, and park it disappears. So maybe there's a problem with the range selector, and that was affecting his transmission shifting. Reverse, neutral, disappears, drive disappears, third it's there. But that doesn't explain why the instrument cluster is working now. No more ABS message. Airbag light goes through its self-test and goes out. So this is the same thing that happened 3 years ago, where all I did was unplug the connector at the top of the instrument cluster and the gauges are working again, but there's still a shifter problem. I bet you we got a transmission code now. Notice the reverse indicator light is blinking. Let's go see if we got any tranny codes. Let's see if we got communication with the instrument cluster now. Yes, we do. History code. Of course, there's not going to be any codes in it. Data. Inputs. So that instrument cluster must be failing once in a while. See, the Prundle state is indicating doesn't know. That's why it did. So there's a problem with the gear shift selector range sensor. Let's go into the transmission, powertrain, Allison, Federal, transmission. Let's see what codes it's got, if it has any. No code. Okay, let's look at data. Trans data. I believe this has multiple switches. The ratio, trans range. Transmission range says invalid. Let's move it through the shift points. So I shut it off so we can hear it. There's reverse. Shoot. Lost communication because I shut the key off and turned it back on. Establish communication again. I wanted to be able to talk over the engine, so should be able to go through this. Current gear, Trans range. See, it shows reverse. I'll start out and drive again, or in park. So there's park, invalid. Reverse, neutral, invalid. Drive, invalid. Third, second, invalid, and first. Go back to park. So I wonder if that's affecting the transmission shifting as well, because he did mention in his text this morning that the transmission it acted like it was in limp mode. I would imagine if we drive it in third, or it did work in drive. What's this range here? I'm gonna look around here. So the park neutral position switch, which contains 4 switches in it, as well as the neutral safety switch. If you notice, there's transmission range switch A, B, C, and P. P for parity. So A, B, C, and they change state as it goes through the shift points. That's not working correctly. So there's either a wiring problem or the range sensor has failed. That could have an effect on the transmission shifting, but it's not causing the instrument cluster problem. That's secondary. I think the instrument cluster might have a cracked printed circuit or something, but yet I wiggle the connector and it doesn't turn on and off, so it's like it needed to be powered down to reboot it. I wonder if pulling a fuse would have done it. Can't tell now because it's working again. So I'm going to discuss the repairs with the customer. I think we'll be changing a transmission range sensor on the side of the transmission to get the gear shift indicator to work properly. Hopefully that fixes his transmission shift points or his transmission issue. Let's see if there's any codes. Powertrain, Allison, Federal. Let's check in the engine. Display codes. Current. Wait to start light control circuit. Because I had the instrument cluster unplugged, I'm sure that set that code. History codes. So I had the instrument cluster unplugged with the key on, so that would set that code. I don't want to clear it until I look at transmission side of things to see if there's any codes here. That's interesting that that range sensor is not setting a code for the transmission. And let's see if it's setting a code in the instrument panel cluster. Huh. Oh well, it's obviously not working correctly. Some of these early electronics were not very, or were too forgiving, if you will. So we'll get some parts and talk to this customer about the potential repairs here. Okay, so we're looking at the transmission range switch on the side of the transmission. Fortunately, it's external on this model. There's an A, B, C, and P. A, B, C, and P for parity. And this Mitchell diagram shows all 4 switches normally open. One common ground. If that ground were to fail, none of the switches would work. So they're all pull-down circuits, and I would expect them to be either battery voltage or 5 volts at each one of these 4 wires on the switch. So looking at the diagnostic scan data, it shows the switches, all 4 of them in one data parameter. Right now it's showing off, 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 and off, and the commanded gear is invalid. Transmission range switch is invalid. So I'm going to move the shifter through the shift points and take note of which one of those doesn't change state. So okay, reverse shows I think I'm going to put this up on the hoist and do a visual inspection of this. I was trying to figure out which one of the 4 range switches could be defective. Huh. Interesting. So here's the OE version of this range sensor. Again showing A, B, C, and P. It's connector 1. I'm not sure which one of the connectors on the switch is connector 1. I think it's the bigger one, but let's have a look at the connector view. I'll pull up the connector view here. So connector 1 is actually the 4-pin connector on the bottom, and if you look at this diagram, it shows connector 1 for A, B, C, and P, or pins A, D, B, and C, and then connector 2 for the ground. At least that's what it looks like. There's the connector view. So we should have the same voltage on all 4 of those wires, so that's what we're going to check for. That would confirm that as there's an open in there, and then we can actually look at data while we ground each one of those circuits with a test light. Let's do that. So there's the range sensor on the side of the transmission, and this is connector 1 on the bottom here, this 4-pin connector. Those terminals are typically glued in there, but this has been off before. So there's the 4 pins, and right now all 4 of those range sensors should show off, and as I ground each one of them, it should change state on the scanner. I'm going to ground them with a test light. So I got a test light connected to pin D right now and ground. Pin D is switch B, and switch B is this one, and now it says off. So I'm going to ground pin C. So if I ground pin C, it changes. So that one works. That's parity signal. I'm going to go to B. That one doesn't work either. So it appears that 3 out of the 4 don't change state. I'm going to measure the voltages on those circuits. So now I'm confused. On all 4 wires I've got 13.4 volts. Yet when I ground them through a test light, I had my test light connected here, only one of them changed state on the scan data. I'll try that again. So I'm on the first pin, it's 13.4. Move to the second pin, 13.4. Third pin, 13.4. And the fourth pin, 13.4. I wonder if I can pull up those switch parameters on the scan tool in a individual status. So I've tested this circuit with a voltmeter, and all 4 pins show 13.4 volts on them. Yet the only one that changes state on the scan tool when I ground it through the test light is pin A, which is transmission switch signal A. But on the scan tool, it displays the switch signals as A, B, C, and P, and only A changes when I ground it. The other three don't. So I'm wondering if these data parameters are not being displayed correctly, because I got voltage on all four wires. I hate like hell just throwing a part at it, but at some point you got to take a leap of faith. If I didn't have voltage on one of those four wires, or more than one of those four wires, then I would assume that there was a problem in the wiring, and I can't see it being a problem with the transmission module, but I suppose it's possible. I'm going to try another scanner. Let's see if this Think Tool scanner will auto ID this VIN. I know the Snap-on scanner wouldn't. The vehicle should support it. Since about 2000 they did, but it depends on the scan tool manufacturer as well. GM. Diagnosis. Let's see if it supports a network scan, believe it or not. Not much of a network in this vehicle. Federal emissions. 5-speed automatic. It is a bit slow. Always seems slow when you're waiting for it. Yeah, it does support a network scan. Come on, Snap-on, you can do it. What is power? Should have communication with the IPC now. Yeah, we do have communication with the instrument cluster. It'd be cool if it told you what these acronyms stood for when you were scanning it and not after the fact. It's funny, this scanner doesn't break out the powertrain from the engine and transmission, which are two separate modules. So none of these scan tools is flawless, that's for sure. SIR, supplemental inflatable restraint, vehicle theft deterrent. It's part of the BCM actually. ABS. I don't know what RTD, AEVO is. Let's see if we click this. Powertrains, just wait to start lamp. This didn't even scan the transmission. Transmission data display. Shift data. Let's try transmission data. Okay, that didn't work. How about shift? No, that didn't work. Switch. Those are pressure switches. Pressure switches, here it is. Select. Come on, you can do it. Sure is slow. So off, that displays on, off, on right now. Let's try grounding with a test light. So that is a different pin. So this is doing the same thing the snap-on scanner did. Actually, no, that one's pin B, that one's working. Why is it changing on its own now? Damn it, I hate throwing parts at things, but sometimes you just got to do it. Well, we'll get a range sensor and put it in this thing and see if it resolves the issue. So I would have preferred a new one from the dealer, but it wasn't available. And this one is a Standard Motor Products, and it's for the Allison. Hopefully this is the correct one. So you may find it necessary to use a heat gun to heat these connector bodies, because there's like an epoxy there, or a really sticky glue that they glue those connectors in from the factory. This one's been apart. Now I've got the connector off, I've got the sensor basically unbolted, but as you can see, it won't come off because of the drive shaft. Just another 1/4 inch and there would have been enough room to get it off of there. So I'm going to have to unbolt the drive shaft at the front and tilt it, undo it here and tilt it towards the driver's side to get some clearance. So with the drive shaft unbolted from the front yoke, got tons of room then. Should have done that before. Would have been easier to get the connector off. There's the switch. Now I believe it has to be in neutral when you put that in, because there's a link on here to time it. See, this rod is, I think, is in neutral. I'm going to try it where it is right now because I know the transmission's in park. Well, there's the switch installed. Yes, it was in neutral position for that thing, and then you take that clip off, put the lever on, make sure you use a adjustable wrench to hold it so while you're torquing that nut on the end of the shaft. I tightened these bolts up with that locator and the gear shift shaft in neutral. Then I put it back in park after I took the locator off. Now we're going to go up the top and see if the gear shift indicator works. Well, there's first, second, third, drive, park, neutral, or neutral, reverse, and park. But it goes out of... Let's see if the backup lights are on. I can't see. Must be out of adjustment just a little bit, because the park disappears. Let's see if the backup lights are on in reverse. That's interesting. The backup lights are on in reverse. Well, I'll try tweaking the adjustment, because it seems like it's working. You gotta loosen off that one bolt behind the connector. So here's the transmission range switch, A, B, C, and parity. And now it's showing off, on, off in park. And it shows transmission range switch, park neutral. I'm going to go through the shift points now. There's reverse, neutral, drive, third, second, first, second, third, drive, neutral, reverse, and park. So it seems to be working fine now. Put the drag shaft back on. And we'll talk to him about the instrument cluster. The instrument cluster is working fine now after cycling the connector. That's what happened 3 years ago. Maybe I'll put some Stabilitin 22A on the terminals. But next time it happens, I'm going to tell him to pull the battery fuse to the instrument cluster to see if that resets it. So I noticed something after adjusting that switch. It now indicates park, but if I move the shift lever towards the steering wheel just a little bit, you can see it disappears. It's almost as if there's some kind of micro switch in the, like the gear shift cable is not moving, but the lever has to be back against its stop, and the spring is broken in here. There's normally a spring that you have to pull the gear shift lever towards the steering wheel. That spring is either broken or it's very weak. But the gear shifter is working now through all the gears. Reverse, neutral, drive, third, second, first. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.